Namaskar. I welcome you to this lecture series of OUSRHH, and today I am going to speak on a very important topic. That's on Netaji Subhas Candra Bose. And why this topic is relevant? Because many people ask today, why talk of Netaji? Why read so much about him? Why do you suggest that? Now, besides nationalism, patriotism and many other first things which Netaji did, I personally consider Netaji as a great role model for modern management. Don't get shocked. Yes, modern management. And what we teach in management today, the management qualities of leadership, mobilization, resource generation, all these planning, etc., all these concepts which are there, let us look at Netaji from these concepts, from these aspects. And let me start with this mission statement. What was Netaji's mission statement? Netaji's mission statement was twofold. One, India has to be free, and secondly, a free India has to be very strong. A free and strong India, that's Netaji's mission statement. And to achieve this mission statement, what is his objective? To achieve India's freedom by any means, that is his objective. Now, when you come to start, assessing his management qualities, look at the concept of decision making. He was very firm in decision making, but none of his decisions were random. For every decision, he gave thought to different alternatives. Pick up even from his leaving Calcutta to go to Kabul, very secretly, and how many alternatives were discussed, and he took that decision. He had taken the decision to go to Russia and from there to raise an army and attack the British from northwest frontier provinces side and all. But circumstances when turned out other way and Russia refused and he had to go to Germany. He was also able to change his decision and quickly change that decision, and making that decision also was not an easy task. His decision to go to Japan, his decision to mobilize the non-resident Indian community over there in Southeast Asian countries. His decision, when the decision is taken after forming of the Azad Hind Sarkar, that they have to declare war on Britain and America, and when it was suggested that why America should only be Britain, and the way he explains that, why I am taking this decision to include America also, because America is the backbone of Britain. So, and many, from very minor things to major things. One of his major decisions, when the INA moved in with Japanese forces in Burma, was to go into an agreement with the Japanese that the Japanese flag would not be unfurled at any of the territories liberated from the British. It will be the Indian flag only. His decision that these areas will be ruled by Indians, not by the Japanese. Assess these decision-making aspects of Netaji at different levels. Then again, he was not a dictator. In this decision making, it was a teamwork. He selected the best advisors, right from Anand Mohan Sahai to whether it was General Kiani or whether it was anyone else, or say from Thailand, like persons like Ishar Singh, Trilok Chand, or persons in Malaya like Thivi, or many others. He picked up the best. And that explains that the planning into which he went into, It was not just a planning that we'll throw away the British and we'll rule over India, but he explained that the real government of India will be formed by the Indians. And that's why he called the Azad Hind Sarkar as a Azu Hakumat, that a temporary government only. And not only that, then his decision that what kind of bureaucracy will be there in independent India. And he formed the Azad Hind Dal. He formed their training camps, training them from a nationalist perspective, that how they have to serve the people, not to rule the people. A direct opposite of the ICS, who used to be the slaves of the British in a way in ruling and administering India. And their aim was to ensure the stability of the British Empire, whereas the bureaucracy which Netaji wanted to establish of Azad Dal, trained people, was of that who will serve the people in an independent country. You come to resources. See, in 6 months' time, forming an independent government, reorganizing the Indian National Army, having new divisions in it, establishing an intelligence director, a medical corps, publicity department, whatnot, and then generating the finances. Look at his thinking on finances. In a speech in Singapore, he clearly said, I can go and ask Japan, Germany or Italy for money, but I won't ask them. Why? One, because we Indians have sufficient money here and we can contribute. And secondly, if I take money from them, I will have to toe their line, which I won't. And right from a hawker to a millionaire, to an owner of a mines, a rickshawala, the way they all contributed, I have dealt these factors in my book, so I won't repeat it here. But the way they created, and it has been written amply by contemporary people, that the amount of money, jewelry, real estate, which was donated to Netaji for Azad Hind Sarkar, has no parallels in the world in that sense. Imagine he being weighed in silver, 100 kg, Thailand. He being weighed in gold in Rangoon. Much more comes to that. And besides not only collection of money in financial resources, the most crucial of his financial management aspect is the creation of the Azad Hind Bank. What a foresight! That we have an Azad Hind Sarkar, we should have our own bank also, to which the Japanese opposed. The Japanese were never in favor that he should have a bank of his own, and they brought in all types of arguments. For 3 days the negotiations went on. It has been written by A.C. Chatterjee. He has given at length those negotiations, in which Japanese said the Burmese will oppose, they will don't like on their soil and another independent bank. Or so much money is needed. Each and every aspect of the arguments given by Japanese was logically answered by Netaji. And he went ahead by establishing the Netaji, by establishing the Azad Hind Bank. And besides not only that, how that money was spent. The money for welfare also of Indians, of the soldiers, what he did. Hardly people know that when he was leaving Bangkok, he gave a huge amount in Bangkok to the university for establishing a research center over there. All these are very important aspects of his financial management. People may laugh at it, but the way he would auction things given to him, that a mala is given to him, and he says the auction cost is 1 lakh, and it goes up to 8 lakhs. So this kind of thing in him, if you look at from the angle of motivation, the motivational quality of a leader, tremendous, tremendous. All interviews I have taken, all interviews I have read who joined the INA and all, even their families today, they say that Netaji had that impact, which is not supernatural in that sense that people would listen to him in one way and get attracted. We have cases. Janki Thevar, 16-year-old girl, listened to his speech, gave her all ornaments, joined the Rani Zati regiment. There are many such aspects related to that of his motivational roles. Leadership quality, management quality is to learn from experience. And when the first round was lost and from Imphal the withdrawal had taken place to Burma, instead of, demoralizing, he motivated, and not only motivated in a way, yes, first round is lost, but there are going to be many rounds, and we have learned from the first round that what our weaknesses were, what were the advantages the enemy had, and assessing that, we have to plan again and make our second attempt, and that's where he went for total mobilization of resources, of men, and to the extent that that's the time he had said that you give me blood and I'll give you independence. And you see the enthusiasm, the way people are motivated, that there was a rush to sign in blood, and the first to come forward were women. Look at his communication aspects, media aspects. Azad in the radio, broadcasts, Azad in the Akhbar in different languages, picking up the best, like he picked up Srinivasan, who was a Reuters correspondent in Southeast Asia, made him in charge of his communication division. And this is very particular, that he is doing it by merit. And another very important quality of leader is being impartial, to motivate his forces and lead his team. I remember of one instance when there was some court-martial was to be taken, and in that court-martial there were two judges who belonged to South India, one from North India, and the person being court-martialed was a person from North India. And someone went and told Netaji, these two judges are from South, they might be partial, they may be partial and they may not impartially give the judgment. Netaji listened. The person left. Netaji changed the third judge also to a South Indian. In some unit there was once some tussle over food, and he went there and he said, look, I don't want this in my INA. If you can't eat together, you can't do this, leave the INA. And look at the unity he created, which no other could do in this country. That in his forces were Hindus, were Sikhs, were Muslims, there were Jains even, Christians even. At a time when the whole country was in strife on communal lines, he was providing a leadership. And the visionary role of a leader. He is the first person, when the Second World War started, he made a statement. Whatever may be the result of the war, whether Allied powers win or Axis powers win, the British Empire is doomed. Now, this was not just a prophecy on any astrological things and all. It was an assessment of the international scenario, a futuristic assessment, and how correct he proved to be, that the British Empire collapsed after the Second World War, in spite of they having won the war. In the military operations, even the generals don't do that. He went right up to the front, walked with the soldiers, stayed with them in the trenches, moved around in cars, his cars attacked by bombs, firing. He escaped. Why? Because of a determination. And that was such a strong determination. And utilization. There were many women, particularly from Tamil Nadu, who wanted to join the Rani Jhansi regiment, but they were overage. And they went to Netaji, we want to serve the country. So Netaji said, okay, you will be taken in, may not for fighting purposes, but other purposes, and they themselves offered, we are prepared to do anything with the force. And they were taken in. But for them also, military parade and rifle training was made compulsory. And as one of the Ranis gives in her interview, says that within 2 months, these ladies had their hair cut, they were wearing iron uniforms, they were marching with them. And understanding in this planning certain things, creating a medical corps. Dr. Kasliwal was in charge who made the blueprint for a medical corps. Will you imagine that during that period, a special center to deal with the trauma of soldiers, a trauma center was made in Azad Hind Fauj. The way he used for supplies. One of his very major things of fund collection is that those who are reluctant and all, he gives a very crucial statement. In times of war, no nation of a country has his own wealth. It is all for the nation. And he said that if those who are reluctant and can't, then we will have to take action. He was very firm also in terms of, and very firm on his decision makings, and very good in, you see, imagine that 11 governments recognizing the Azad Hind Sarkar. This has never happened earlier. Even for the young children, when the young children confronted him, virtually confronted him and said, we want to serve the nation. And he created a Bal Sena. And the Bal Sena performed a very crucial role, both during the war and after the war. They did that. Organizing spying missions, giving spying to the spies special instructions. These were some of his very great things. And even in terms of industrialization, you see, his approach, his outlook. The planning commission first committee was made by him. And at that time, he had consulted even scientists and big businessmen and even the common man. Like Meghnad Shah was also there, you know, as a scientist in this. Economists were there, which he asked Nehru to take over the chairmanship at that time. But he was doing that. So these aspects of Netaji, and even if you come to the most modern concept of monitoring and rejuvenation, even that too Netaji was doing. Monitoring each and everything himself, personally, of the war front. And wherever lacunas are there, trying to fill them up, rejuvenate the people. Gave equal importance to all motivatory factors, whether it was Captain Ram Singh Thakuri's songs, which he sang for Azad Hind Fauj, or any other matter, if you may also. So, we have to understand Netaji in a futuristic perspective also, when he said that Azad Hind Fauj will be also the army of the free India, many other aspects. So, in that light, Netaji stands as a role model of leadership, a role model for most modern management, and of course a role model for nationalism and patriotism. Thank you very much.